Okay. So, Jai Jinendra, we'll start with Manglacharan. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Uvajjayanam, Namo Doi Savvasahuram, Mangalam Bhagavan Viro, Mangalam Gautamo Gani, Mangalam Kund Kundaryo, Jaina Dharmo Sumangalam, Sarva Mangal Mangalyam, Sarva Kalyan Karakam, Pradhanam Sarva Dharmanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam. Jai Jinendra, I'll just share my screen. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to show this. Yeah. YouTube live is on, right? Can somebody check?
Yes, it's on, ma'am.
Oh, great. My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the next semester where we are going to be covering 4 things in paper 3. The first one is Anekant Syadvad, second one is Saptabhangi, and for both of these, we shall be referring Anupam Coach. Like I shared the reference material, I will share, but the main textbook that we will use for class will be this Hindi text. And then there are 2 topics which are there for self-study. One is culture.
Ma'am, can't hear you. I can't. I think I'll go. Darshiji, can you hear her?
No
No, I
English
think
textbook
there is a problem with
available.
the.
Yeah. Was I being cut in between?
Yeah, you are. Yeah. So we can
Yeah.
hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I was saying that the paper 3 will have 4 elements. One is Anekant Syadvad, other is Saptabhangi. Both of them we will refer from Anupam Coach. There is another book which you might have received. This is Parambhav Prakashak Nai Chakra by Dr. Hukamchandji Bharali. So both these topics are also available in the last 2 chapters of this book, but it is in Hindi and Gujarati. English is not available. We will refer Anupam Coach, which has a simplified version of the same thing. So that will be easier for you. Then for Kal Chakra, there is one book by Dr. Sanjeev Godha. Again, that is in Hindi. But for all these 3, I do have some English material which we have prepared and which I will be sharing with you. So you can just use it as reference wherever needed. But for the class, we will refer the Hindi text. And the last one is Aap Kuch Bhi Kaho. I believe it's a compilation of 10 stories and those are available in English. And you all might have received the English book or PDF. I don't know how you have received it. So Kal Chakra and Aap Kuch Bhi Kaho is self-study. But we will cover parts of it. Like I will take one class for both of them. And, we will see how it works. Maybe we will do it as an assignment. Like I'll assign some parts of it to each of you. And you guys can prepare and, we will cover up our Viva in that. So give me one class to figure it out. I'll let you know how we will take it. Anekant Syadvad and Saptabhangi, both we shall discuss in the class. Today we will start with Anekant Syadvad. So before I begin, I want to understand what is your understanding. Like some of you might have read what I have shared, and some of you may just have some vague idea of what Anekant is, what Syadvad is. So I want to hear you guys. Yeah, who wants to go first? Yeah, Rajeshri.
Anekant is having different different looks at one thing. Like you have different opinions or different things about the same thing. Everyone has got a different opinion about, like an elephant, which has got each one as he sees is a different thing. So the Anekant is actually a different thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Darshiji, what's your thought?
Yeah, so from my side, I feel Anekant means that for any substance, it can be multifaceted. So which means that, for example, if you were to use, like, the book says this, so I'm just repeating it, a flower blooming in the sky, that cannot happen because it needs maybe soil or water and all of those sorts of things. That's how I understand Anekant.
Okay. Priyanka ji, do you have any idea what Anekant is?
Jai Jinendra Vijayji. I've not read the
Jai
book, to be honest with you, but from
Okay.
what I remember from Rajesh sir's class, it's that it's different perspectives. What Rajshri ji said, like it's different viewpoints, and I think it's also multifaceted. So anything can be looked at it in multiple ways because it is having more than one attribute. It's not just one particular thing. Like a pencil, it can be pointed, it is made of wood, it is used as a writing instrument. So these are all the things, and depending on what perception the other person has from that viewpoint in that context. So Anekantvad is what I'm thinking. Like Jainism, one particular principle um, can be seen in multiple ways, like from Prathama Niyog, Dravya Niyog, and different ways.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
that's my overview. Pretty much.
Okay. Chaitanya Prakash ji, do you want to say something? Jinali ji?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
nobody
same.
is right or wrong. Everybody has their own way of looking at a thing.
Okay. So, before we start, let me tell you that this is not what Anekant is about. It's not what people usually believe, that everybody is right from their perspective. Okay, so this is a very popular misconception about the understanding of Anekant and Syadvad in the, normal philosophical world. A lot of celebrities are making reels saying that, oh, I love Jainism because it says everybody is right, nobody is wrong. And, Jainism can be used to foster world peace. So, so if Jainism says everybody is right, that means ki, okay, फूलों से पूजा करना भी is right. Doing, bakri halal is also right. Everything is right because from your point of view, you are right. So this is not Anekant. Okay. So what is Anekant then? So Anekant, in simple terms, is multi-dimensional, multifaceted. And what is the multidimensional thing we are talking about? We are talking about the nature of a substance. Any dravya, any substance, when we see, how is it? So we all have learned that this universe has 6 substances. It is a conglomerate and accumulation of Chhay Dravya, Jeev, Pudgal, Dharmastikay, Adharmastikay, Akash, and Kal. So all these 6 substances, how are they? What is their nature? So for that again, Sarvakya Bhagavan has said that each of these substances is made up of Anant Gun, infinite attributes. Okay. So these infinite attributes, they are having different qualities, properties, and different dimensions to it. So partly what Priyanka ji said was correct, that one single pencil can be looked at in multiple ways. So ek hi substance, the single substance, can be seen from various different perspectives, and that seeing from different perspectives gives me a holistic view of the substance. So Anekant is that nature of the substance which is having multi-dimensions, multiple views, that is Anekant. And in a nutshell, the language which is describing the substance from different points of view is Syadvad. You understand? Vastu is Anekant, the Dravya is Anekant Swarup, but the language which I will use to describe this Dravya, which has multiple dimensions, that formal language which is given in our Shastras is known as Syadvad. And what Syadvad does? Because it is impossible to describe something which has multiple dimensions all at once. Okay, for example, I will say a Rasgulla. Rasgulla is a very common example in all the lectures. So this Rasgulla, how is it? So if I am going to describe it, it is round, it is white, it is soft, it is sugary, it is blah, 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 so many things. Okay, so while describing, there is always, you can say crumb, a sequence which we can follow. I cannot simultaneously say what this Rasgulla is. But however, when we experience it, when we eat it, all the attributes we experience simultaneously, So Syadvad is just a method of description, which is prompting you, which is promoting you, which is telling you how this Swarup is, how the substance is, and then we are supposed to experience the substance. Now, why are we doing this exercise of learning Jainism? Because we want to experience the soul. I want to understand what is my nature, what is this Atma all about, and where is this Anand, and where is this Anubhuti, and where is the right belief. So I want to understand. Now, how will I get to it? For that, I need to understand who am I? What is my nature? What is this soul about? And to describe the nature of soul in one word is Anekant. Atma kaisa hai? Anekant Swarup hai. Okay. So this is my nature. And when we understand through Syadvad from different perspectives what the soul is about, what every other substance also is about, we get a holistic perspective, a comprehensive view. Otherwise, what happens? You close one eye and you look ahead. So, you are just seeing what is ahead of you. You don't know what is aju baju upar niche. You get it? And that kind of thing is known as ekant. You are just, having a biased view, which is not going to give you a true view, a samyak gyan or the right knowledge of any substance. So this is just an overview. If you have lost me somewhere and find it difficult, don't worry. We are going to break this down in very simple terms and language.
Vijay ji, can
Yeah.
you please repeat? I'll write it down. Just the summary overview. You can?
Okay, so in short, I would say that a substance which has multiple dimensions, which has several aspects or facets or qualities to it is Anekant Swarup. Okay, so we will come to it what Anek and Ant means. So that is Anekant, and the language or the formal tone by which I can describe this Anekant substance, in which I can depict it correctly to avoid any kind of virod or any kind of a contradiction in my depiction. That language is known as Syadvad. Okay. So this is the book by Dr. Siddhartha Prabhaji Tadaya. She has, given it a very simple tone, simple language. I know some of you don't know how to read Hindi, but those who know, please read the introduction. She has, given why we need to understand this Anekant, Syadvad, Saptabhangi, all of that. So in this class, I cannot really go there, but it's an interesting read. Okay. So we will come to Anekant. How many of you cannot read Hindi?
Sorry, I can't.
Okay. All the others can at least read Hindi, even if you find it difficult. Yeah. Okay. So Darshiji, you might just have to rely on the lectures and maybe the notes that I shared with you to gain a proper understanding. And don't worry, we have covered most of the things in that as well. But others,
Actually-
I would really tell, please read this. Yeah, tell me, Darshi.
Actually, you know, when I read through that English paper that you've given us, it's very well written and it's quite detailed. And I mean, I read it in a rush last night, obviously, but if I was to take time behind it, it's very, very well depicted. So when Priyanka ji was just saying that if you can repeat that and she wanted to write it down, actually, it's all on that paper, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Really helps us. Like we are developing this content for people like, English speakers who want to understand Jainism, and this is our humble attempt to do something in this direction. Yeah. Okay. So, Anekant. So, if we break up the word, Anek plus Ant. So, Anek, we all know Anek means what? Multiple. Okay, multi. And Ant over here means gun or dharma. Okay. So when we fuse these two words, multiple attributes or multiple properties or multiple dimensions is the literal meaning of the word अनेकांत. Okay. इस प्रकार हम देख रहे हैं कि अनेकांत पद अनेक और अंत दो शब्दों से मिलकर बना है. It is made up of these two words, and अनेक means more than one. So more than one is either two, it can be two, or it can be infinite. Okay. So both these terms have different meanings. We will see that. एक से अधिक का पेट बहुत बड़ा है क्योंकि एक से अधिक तो दो भी हो, multiple, infinite, any number. Okay. इसी प्रकार अंत का अर्थ भी धर्म और गुण दोनों ही होता है. So before we go ahead, this is something which is not there in the notes, but I will clarify. When we describe the nature of the soul, what we say it has infinite attributes, it has infinite powers, it has infinite properties, qualities. So in Hindi, usually in the scriptures, four kind of terminologies are usually used. One is gun, another is dharma, third is shakti, and fourth is swabhav. Gun, dharma, shakti, and swabhav. Now, while many use all of these interchangeably, there are very subtle differences in these four, and which you will realize the more you read Jainism, you will realize that there are some differences. So when we are talking about gun, we are talking about attributes like Gyan, Darshan, Charitra, knowledge, belief, conduct. These attributes, you will see that every moment there is a modification or pariyai of these gun. So I will just explain with simple example. Like every moment we realize that we are knowing something. So that is the modification of Gyan. We also sense Rag, Dvesh, or these passions. They are modifications of, they are viparit or the alien modification of Charitra attribute or the conduct attribute. And we also sense that I am the body and this is my function. So that is mithya darshan or the faulty manifestation of the belief attribute. So those attributes which are having modifications in every moment, which means कि जिन गुणों की पर्याय होती है, those are known as गुण. Okay. So at every moment they are manifesting in some form or the other. How many such guna are there in the soul? Infinite. The second properties are dharma. So for dharma, I use the term properties to distinguish it from attributes, but they are interchangeable. So what are these dharma? Dharma are always in pairs. Okay, they are a pair of opposing properties like nitya, anitya, temporary, permanent. Then asti, nasti, or existence and non-existence. Tat, atat, bhav, abhav, ek, anek. So these kind of properties that always exist in pairs are known as dharma. Okay, so for example, if we see from the point of view of dravya, okay, the soul is always permanent, okay, it is always existent. Now, if we see from the point of view of paryay, the same soul is temporary, anitya. So from dravya, it is nitya, from paryay, it is anitya. So these kind of properties that exist within the substance are known as dharma. Okay, I will stick to the Hindi terms here in order to avoid confusion. So these dharma, what is the thing, special characteristic, that they are always existing in pairs. Okay, they are sapeksh, means both are always together. The third type I mentioned was Shakti. So in Hindi we say Shakti ki vyakti hoti hai. So these are kind of potentials that are there within the soul, but they have not yet manifested. So can you think of something which is already there within, but you have not seen its power? Is there anything?
Samyak darshan.
Samyak darshan, not really, because मिथ्या दर्शन का सम्यक दर्शन होता है. But if something like sarvagyata, so sarvagyata, like omniscience, is not there till 12th gunasthan. Okay, but after that it manifests. So things like that, it is there. That sarvagyata or omniscience has not come from anywhere outside. It is the power which is there within the soul, but it manifests only after the soul becomes vitrani. You understand? So this is known as Shakti. So to understand it simply, like a matchstick. Okay, a matchstick has the capacity to get ignited. But we have several matchsticks in our house and there is no fire. Why? So it will give rise to fire only when we rub it against the wall of that box. Okay. So Shakti is there in that matchstick, and when you rub it, it becomes prominent. You know, uski vyakti hoti hai. It shows up. In that way, the soul also has Ananta Shakti, which shows up when it reaches its full potential. So some of these Shaktis are mentioned in, Samaisar. Some of you might have heard Surdali's Shakti. There are 47 such Shakti, which Acharya Amritchandra has mentioned in Samaisar Parishisht. And then the last one, which I said, was Swabhav. Swabhav is the nature of the soul, so which is always there. Okay. So, like Anekant, I'm saying it is the Swabhav of the soul, and it is also Anant Gun. And there are many such Swabhav, like Gyan Swabhav, we say, which is always there. Okay. So these are the four kinds of things. Now, here in this context, we will mainly talk about Gun and Dharma. And going ahead, we will talk mainly about Dharma. Okay. So, अंत का अर्थ धर्म भी है और गुण भी है. So, I will repeat. Dharma means those pair of properties which are opposite in nature, like nitya, anitya, ek, anek, tat, atat, asti, nasti, etc. So, they are known as dharma, and gun are those attributes which are having modifications or paryay, like gyan, darshan, charitra, sukh, etc. Okay. So, jaisa ki hum, is everybody clear with what we are saying? Is there any question here? Are you finding it easy? Yeah? Okay, you're not finding it easy. I can see that, but
No,
fine.
no, not very comfortable with it. A little more
Okay.
explanation, I think. I don't know about
More
others.
explanation.
I don't know what others,
Right.
but with me.
Okay, so I will just
Me too.
repeat.
Maybe
Okay.
I can say
I got
something that after reading this file in English, there are so many words in here which are new, and so many things which, like for example, there is something that I read just a little while ago. I mean, there's some sentences which have got like for example, mutually before a sentence, stuff like that, which then throws us a bit off because you don't know where that connection comes from.
Yeah, but now you understood why mutually opposite, because asti and nasti are mutually opposite to each other. Okay. So that is why they are opposing in characteristics. So actually it is not opposing. They are maintaining the identity of the substance. We will come to that. Okay,
So
that is
both
why
will
we
be
are saying.
present.
Sorry?
Vijayji, both will be present at the same time in the soul.
Yes, yes. So there is gun asti and nasti, which means existence and non-existence. Both are present in the soul. But how they are functioning, like the existence dharma ensures that the substance always exists in its own dravya kshetra kal bhav. Okay, dravya kshetra kal bhav, you all understand? Substance, the region, time, and its good. So the substance is existing in its own boundary of dravya kshetra kal bhav. And what is non-existence? At the same time, the substance doesn't exist in par dravya kshetra kal. So
In
both
another
of
substance.
yeah, it will not exist in another substance. Non-existence is ensuring that this substance will not mingle with the body. It will not, mingle with karma. It will not go anywhere outside. And existence ensures that it stays within itself. So these look opposite, but do you see that how they together are ensuring the eternal existence of the substance? If Nasti Guna is not there, then the substance will mingle with other substances, right? The soul going in the body will die with the body because it has dissolved in the body. But it doesn't happen because Asti and Nasti both together in the substance are safeguarding its eternal existence. In that way, I can explain Nitya and Anitya as well. Nitya Dharma or permanence is ensuring that the substance exists from eternity to eternity. It remains constant. Like the soul going from one body to another does not die because it is Nitya. And what is Anitya? Anitya means the paryay or the modification is temporary. So it is ensuring that even though the substance is eternal, it is not stagnant. It is not standing in one place. It is continuously changing. So what is making it change continuously is the Anitya Dharma. What is making it constant is Nitya. And Nitya and Anitya together are ensuring the, nature of the substance, which is Dravya Gun Paryaya.
So
Do you
would
all
you,
understand Dravya Gun Paryay? So my question is that. Okay, so there is a blank expression.
no, actually we have learned it, but in Vijalji, it seems like, it's in that semester we've learned it. And then it's like, when it comes as a discussion in another topic, at least for me, I'm a bit lost. Then
Yeah.
it feels like these words are familiar. They sound familiar, but I can't connect in that moment. Like, right now you're saying, and I'm sure Rajesh has covered all these things, but it's
Right.
not, I'm not recollecting any of that. So it's so nice to hear everything like gun, dharm, shakti, swabhav, and then to actually tease apart every single property, because this is what I want to like know. What is the soul? Like, can you
Yeah,
explain more about Nitya? What was the other one? You said Asti Nasti.
right.
So, if you can explain more.
So we will come to it
Yes.
actually. Yeah. So as we go ahead, we will come to it, how it is.
So
But stay with me. Yeah.
Dravya Gun Parya means Dravya is substance, Gun is the properties of the substance, and the Parya is the existence,
The modification.
modification. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just, I think, let me just revise what is Dravya Gun Paryay. So Dravya is the substance. How we define a Dravya? A mass of infinite attributes is known as a Dravya. Okay. A substance is a conglomerate and accumulation of Anant Gun, infinite attributes. Okay. Now this Dravya, there are a few properties of every substance. One is its eternal existence. Okay. No Dravya can ever be created nor be destroyed. So the number of substances in this universe will always remain constant. Now, if I say that everything is eternally existing, what does it mean? Does it mean that the universe is at a standstill because nothing is getting destroyed and nothing new is getting created? So it's not like that. The Dravya, being eternal, keeps on transforming in the form of new and new paryay. Okay, so utpad or evolution of a new modification, vyay or extinction of a previous modification, and in this utpad and vyay or evolution and extinction of modifications, the substance itself will always remain constant. For example, I take a gold bar, I melt it and make bangles out of it, and then after some time, I melt those bangles and make a necklace out of it. So what has changed? The form of the gold from the bar to the bangle to the necklace, which is paryay. And now this I am talking about very small, very gross paryay. Okay, paryay is actually momentary. Ek samay ki ek paryay. But in order to explain, I am saying these big paryays which you can identify. So this bar to bangle to a necklace is the paryay of the gold. But at that point, what happened to the gold substance or the dravya? It remained as it is. all its properties, attributes are always constant in that thing. So this kind is the nature of the substance. Okay, so this is what we understand by Dravya Gun Paryay. Okay, every substance is continuously modifying, right? So when it is modifying, which means it is temporary, right? Because the Paryay, which came right now, will go away in the next moment. We have just learned Krambat Paryay. So I'm sure you understand what Paryay means, right? So Paryay is anitya or temporary. Okay, there is Paryay cannot be constant because it's shelf life. Its life is only of one samay or one moment. So when we look at any substance from the point of view of Paryay, it is always temporary, right? Which substance is permanent when you look at the Paryay? Because Paryay has gone. By the time I'm saying Paryay, the Paryay went away. Okay. So from that view, every substance is temporary. And if I look only at the substance, from that view, every substance is permanent. It's eternal. Okay. So this is what we mean, that these two opposing qualities are there in the same substance at the same time. And this is the beauty of Syadvad and Anekant. Because now I am able to describe every substance taking in view of all these mutually opposite properties and describing its accurate nature, giving a holistic perspective, telling the comprehensive view of how this substance exists and what is the true nature of the substance. Okay, so let us move ahead. As we go on, these things will be repeated and it will get more and more clear. But at this point, are you all with me? Yeah.
Yes, Vijay, one last thing. So, Dravya Gun Paryay, and how do I combine the concept that you said, Gun, Dharm, Shakti, Swabha? All of those will
Okay.
go under
So
Gun,
Dravya,
or yeah.
yeah. So Dravya substance has all of these. Dharma, Gun, Shakti, Paryay. Dharma, Gun, Shakti, Swabhav. Okay. So Dharma, Gun, Shakti, Swabhav are many times interchangeably used for Gun and with each other. Okay. Anant Gun, Ananta Shakti, all of that. But I told the subtle differences that are present in all of these four. Right? And Paryay is the modification. Okay, it is another thing. So ये चारों द्रव्य में होता है. It is there in the substance. Okay. And how many? Anant. All are infinite. Okay. So प्रत्येक वस्तु में अनंत गुण एवं अनंत धर्म पाए जाते हैं. So now when I am saying अनंत गुण or infinite attributes and infinite dharma, you understand why these are two different words being used. Gun, they have modifications. Dharma are mutually opposite pair of properties. Okay. अतः जहां अनेक का अर्थ अनंत होगा वहां अंत का अर्थ गुण लेना चाहिए, और जहां अनेक का अर्थ दो होगा वहां अंत का अर्थ धर्म लेना चाहिए. इस प्रकार अनंत गुणात्मक वस्तु भी अनेकांत है और परस्पर विरुद्ध प्रतीत होने वाले दो धर्मों का एक ही वस्तु में होना भी अनेकांत है. Okay, so now let me explain this. When, as I said, anek plus ant equal to anekant. So when I am saying that anek is two, at that point, the meaning of the term ant is property or dharma, which refers to the two opposite pair of properties like nitya, anitya, ek, anek, and tat, atat, all of that. Okay. So when I am saying anek is two, ant means dharma. So the meaning of anekant in that context is a substance that has two mutually opposite properties at the same time. Okay. परस्पर विरुद्ध प्रतीत होने वाले, which means these two pairs of properties, they appear mutually contradictory or mutually opposite. They don't appear to be in sync with each other. These kind of properties being in the same substance at the same time is known as anekant. That is the first meaning. Now, when I'm considering anek as infinite, that time the meaning of ant is gun. So the definition of anekant will be the substance which has infinite attributes within itself. So there are two connotations of anekant. One is the substance which has mutually opposite pair of properties at the same time existing within it. And the second one is the substance that has infinite attributes. So when I'm describing it from the point of view of dharma, we take the first definition where anek is do and ant is dharma. And when we are describing from the point of view of infinite attributes, anekant means the substance which has infinite qualities, attributes, or properties within it. Yeah, so far we are okay? Okay. Yeah, so I'll just read through this. यद्यपि शास्त्रों में अनेक स्थान पर शक्ति, धर्म, गुण को पर्यायवाची रूप में प्रस्तुत किया गया है. Like I said, Shakti, Dharma, and Gun are interchangeably used for each other at several places in the Shastra. But there is a subtle difference, which I have already mentioned. वस्तु में अनंत शक्तियां हैं जिन्हें धर्म या गुण कहते हैं. उसमें जो शक्तियां, see, now they are using the term Shakti, but Shakti itself has a different meaning. Okay. So, जो शक्तियां परस्पर विरुद्ध प्रतीत होती है, सापेक्ष होती है. सापेक्ष means what? One has the apeksha or the need of the other. They are always existing together. Okay, so that is known as sapeksh. With if there is nitya, there is anitya as well. Okay, there is dharma, there is no, not dharma. Sorry, there is asti, there is nasti as well. There is tat, there is atat as well. So these, when they two exist together, always it is known as sapeksh, like two sides of the same coin. Okay, one cannot be without the other. Okay. So, जैसे नित्य, अनित्य, एक, अनेक आदि. So, all these properties, they are dharma. जो शक्तियां विरोधाभास से रहित है. So, there are the gun. They don't have any opposing. Like there is no gyan and agyan both in the soul. There is no darshan and adarshan both in the soul. There is no charitra and acharitra. So, ऐसा नहीं है. This is not the way it is. Okay. So, these are gun and there is no virodhabhas or there is no opposing pair of properties. And they are nirpeksh or they stand alone. They don't need any other dharma with that. So they are known as gun. जैसे आत्मा के ज्ञान दर्शन, like ज्ञान दर्शन charitra, these are gun. And in Pudgal, ras, roop, gandha, adi, which means what? Color, taste, all those properties of Pudgal, they also do not have any other counterpart, okay? Opposing pair. In short, we can say that एक वस्तु में वस्तुत्व की उत्पादक परस्पर विरुद्ध दो शक्तियों का युगपत प्रकाशित होना अनेकांत है. So in short, we can say that in the same substance, the emergence of these two opposing properties that can be seen at the very same time, it is known as anekant. A substance holding two opposite pair of things, two opposite properties at the same time is known as anekant. Okay, which means the substance which is temporary, it itself is permanent, which is existent, it itself is non-existent, which is the one thing, it itself is seen in multiple ways. You understand? Ek anek. So from one point of view, the soul is singular, like there can be no divisions. Like Nischay say, Atma ek hi hai. Okay, there is no divisions, parts in the soul. But if you see from Vyavhar, if you see from the other point of view, it is anek. It has multiple perspectives. It has multiple modifications. So this substance, Sat Asat, I explained, it exists within itself in Swadravya Kshetra Kalbhav. Asat means it does not exist in Pardravya Kshetra Kalbhav. So this kind of property, which is seen in the same substance, is known as anekant. And we must be surprised that एक वस्तु में अनंत गुणों के साथ साथ अनेक परस्पर विरोधी दिखने वाले धर्म युगलों का भी पिंड है. So such opposing pair of properties also are infinite within the substance. Okay. Any questions so far? Are you all with me? Somewhat. So now I think many of you will be motivated to read the text that I have sent to make this simpler. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So those who have read have an edge over the others who haven't. Yeah.
I think we have to read it 3 to 4 times before we go.
Yes.
further.
So honestly,
has to
see,
go
I have
now.
been in, yes, I have been in your place and I know because, this concept is very abstract, vague, and it is not really easy to just get it, ek baar mein. So you need to read it a couple of times, but once you
It's not
understand it,
abstract, Ved. It is complicated. It is very, very complicated.
okay, I will try my best to simplify it for you.
You know, Vijay
Yeah,
ji, just
yeah.
on a side joke, I thought like sequence bound modification done. Thank goodness. This came over.
So honestly, I feel sequence bound modification is one of the most interesting topics of the entire,
No, no, it
10
is.
semester.
It is. I'm just kidding. I was like, you know, who khatam hua. I was like,
Now there is another bomb waiting
there's
for
another bomb.
exploding.
I opened your text. I was like, ये क्या है? बंद कर.
Right. So I do appreciate your honesty, but as seekers of truth, as people who want to end this cycle of miseries, if we can study complicated things like JavaScript and C++, all those language and the engineering terminology, I think this is pretty simple. And probably that thing has never helped us, will never help us in the future as well. But a bit of Purusharth in this direction is going to end your miserable cycle forever and is going to give you Ananta Gyan. So, hang in there. This is something we ought to do with a lot of enthusiasm and, utsah. And I do get it. I know it's not always easy, but this is the first time that you guys are reading, and it is going to get better if you read it twice or thrice. Okay? So don't worry. And if you have questions, you just WhatsApp me again. I will be happy to answer them. Okay. So यह विशेष बात ध्यान रखने की यह है कि वस्तु में संभव्यमान परस्पर विरोधी धर्म ही पाए जाते हैं असंभव्य नहीं. So what we are trying to say is that it doesn't mean when I am saying that there are infinite attributes, I cannot just put in any attribute that I want. Like soul has Chetan and a soul is Achetan as well. So this is not possible. Soul is never a Chetan. Okay, that is asambhyaman, which means that dharma cannot be there. It is impossible to find this kind of dharma. Like I say, okay, soul is Gyan Darshan as well. Soul has Sparsh Ras Gandha Varna also. Or it has, color, taste, smell, etc. So that is not possible. These kind of dharma are not present in the soul. So Anekant does not account for that. It will talk only about the attributes or qualities which are present in the soul and not which are not. Okay. So I'll just quickly read. अर्थात जो धर्म विरोधी से मात्र दिखते हैं वस्तुतः विरोधी नहीं. Now we have to understand that when I'm talking about this mutually opposite properties, okay, so they just appear to be contradictory. They are apparently contradictory. In reality, they are not. So they have given the example of husband and wife. If I ask any child, what is the opposite of husband? They will say wife. But are husband and wife opposites? Are they fighting a war, which might be real in some cases? But if you see, the husband and wife together are both essential to run a family properly. They both have their distinct roles and duties, and if they work in harmony, the family runs well, right? So in the Dravya, these opposite gun, like these opposite dharma, like Nitya and Anitya, they harmoniously work together to establish the identity of the substance. Asti and Nasti, they both work together to establish the existence of the substance. So this is how these opposing properties are safeguarding the eternal swarup of the substance. And that is why, we want to appreciate it. Because in no other philosophy or no other dharma, you will find this kind of depiction. They will only say, ya to tat hai, to wahi hai. So atat nahi hai. If it is nitya, then it is nitya. Like Vedants believe that soul is nitya, but there is no anitya aspect of it. And Bodh believe that soul is anitya. It is kshanik. Everything is kshanik. So there is no nitya aspect of it. And both are wrong. Why? Because without accounting the other facet or the other aspect, we cannot fully understand the soul. Both of these things are there together and they are safeguarding the identity of the substance. And that is why we must understand them if we want to, inch closer towards self-realization. Okay. So I'll just read this example. पति पत्नी लिखा जाता है सांसारिक जीवन में एक दूसरे के पूरक है. Okay, they are Purak means they are, complementing each other. Somebody who has a flaw, the other person is balancing it out. So they actually complement each other and not contradict. Okay. So ऐसे परस्पर विरोधी से दिखने वाले धर्म. So when we say opposing pair of properties, they are virodhi se dikhne wale means they are just apparently contradictory. In reality, they don't have contradiction with each other. Okay. The contradiction, there is a very nice word which comes. Ki contradiction is there in the agyan and not in the vastu swarup. Okay. When we feel that, oh, these two are opposite and this is contradicting what they have said, it is because of our ignorance and not because of any fault in the vastu swarup. So we have to understand, to dispel our ignorance, that how these opposite things can exist at the same time. Okay? ऐसे परस्पर विरोधी से दिखने वाले धर्म की सत्ता एक साथ एक वस्तु में पाई जाती है. अनेकांत इन परस्पर विरोधी से प्रतीत होने वाले धर्मों का ही प्रकाशन करता है, समस्त विरोधी धर्मों का प्रकाशन नहीं. अर्थात जैन दर्शन की स्पष्ट मान्यता है कि परस्पर विरोधी और अविरोधी समस्त धर्म एक साथ एक आत्मा में नहीं रह सकते. जैसे चेतन अचेतन परस्पर विरोधी धर्म है, अतः नित्य अनित्यत्व की सम्मान एक साथ एक आत्मा में नहीं रह सकते. So, in the beginning of the class, I said Anekant doesn't mean that everyone is right. Okay. It doesn't mean that you are right from your perspective, and that is why I must embrace your belief also. What it means that Anekant is actually only talking about the Vastu Swarup, about the infinite properties and attributes that are present within the soul. And in that also, it is accepting only those properties which actually exist, and not all the Virodhi properties. Like Chetan and Achetan are Virodhi properties, but they don't exist within the same soul. Okay. So in this way, Gyan and Agyan are Virodhi properties, but they are not there within the same soul. I cannot say that Atma Gyan ka bhi karta hai and Rag ka bhi karta hai. Like the soul is the doer of knowledge and the soul is the doer of passions as well. Vyavhar se kaha jata hai, but in reality, it is a different scenario. So we have to understand what is the nature of the soul. What kind of things are possible? Like soul is a doer of its own paryay and the soul can do the paryay of the body as well. It's not possible. Soul apna bhi karta hai, pudgal ka bhi karta hai. So these kind of opposing statements, they are mithya anekant. They are not a part of anekant. Okay. Anekant talks only about the things that have a possibility to exist in the soul, that are actually existing, and it describes it in the manner of Syadvad, which we will see. Okay. So प्रत्येक वस्तु में नित्य अनित्य जैसे परस्पर विरोधी दिखने वाले अनेक जोड़े युगल पाए जाते हैं. There are several such pairs in every substance. अतः वस्तु केवल अनेक गुणों का ही पिंड नहीं, अपितु परस्पर विरोधी दिखने वाले अनेक धर्म युगलों का भी पिंड है. So when I am describing the substance, I don't only describe it as a mass of infinite attributes, but it is also an accumulation of infinite such pairs of dharma that appear mutually contradictory. Okay, this is what we are trying to prove. So far, we have been saying the same thing. Now you all understand? Yeah, it's simpler now that we have said it already 10 times. Yeah, okay. जिन वस्तुओं में परस्पर कोई विरोध नहीं है, एक वस्तु में उनकी एक साथ सत्ता, तो सभी मत सहज स्वीकार कर लेते हैं, किंतु जिनमें विरोध सा प्रतिभासित होता है, उन्हें स्याद्वादी जैन मत ही स्वीकार करता है. अतः अनेकांत की परिभाषा में परस्पर विरुद्ध शक्तियों के प्रकाशन पर विशेष बल दिया गया है. So what happens is, like every philosophy or every religion or every school of thought has tried to describe substance in their own way, and where they do not find any contradiction, they are also agreeing to it. Okay, Atma Gyan hai is the view of several religions. Like there is nothing new in that. But this kind of view that the soul is temporary and permanent at the same time, it is existent and non-existent at the same time, it is one and multiple at the same time. This kind of view is there only in Syadvadi Jain Mata. Okay, so only Jainism accepts these opposing properties, and that is why when we are defining Anekant, we put special emphasis on these opposing pair of properties, because this is the unique aspect of Anekant which is absent in all other schools of thought. Like Anekant kahin bhi aur nahi hai. So if you search that what is the uniqueness of Jain philosophy, you will often see ahimsa, aparigraha, and Anekant, because these concepts, described by Jainism are so unique, they are not found anywhere else. All the other things, there you can draw a lot of parallels between Jainism and other religions in several different ways. But in these aspects, they have not, like Nai Chakra or Syadvad or point of views are not there in any school of thought. It's only there in Jainism. And because it is there in Jainism, it can describe the substance wholly without contradicting its own statement. So I will just make you understand what I mean by this. Like if I don't use this system of describing things from point of view, like निश्चय से ऐसा है, व्यवहार से ऐसा है, और द्रव्य से ऐसा, पर्याय से ऐसा. If we don't do that, what will happen? I will just say that the substance is eternal. And then somebody will ask me, if it is eternal, then how is everything changing all the time? Or I'll say, okay, the substance keeps on changing all the time. So then if the substance is continuously changing, then how do I know that change? Because if it is just changing, then that knowledge should also change completely. Nothing should remain permanent, right? So both of these things are existing at the same time. And how will we come to know that? How will we describe that? We can describe it only if we use this language of point of views or nai. So while studying, students often ask, why do we have to study all these complicated things? But because without using nai, you cannot describe the soul. The soul's nature is encompassed of multiple attributes, gun, dharma, and they are contradictory. And to explain them, it is necessary to have a system of point of views where we look at one thing at a time and describe it wholly, and then we understand it from different point of views to give the holistic perspective. If the substance was unidimensional, then we did not need all of that. But that is not how the nature of the substance is. Yeah? Anyone wants to say anything? Thoda clear ho raha hai? Yeah? Okay. So why we are emphasizing on this paraspar virodhi dharma or the mutually opposite pair of substances? Because the other things, all the other religions also accept, but through Syadvad and Anekant, we establish the nature of the soul as it is, which has different opposing pair of properties, and that gives a holistic perspective. And which is why in Anekant, we lay special emphasis on this paraspar virodhi dharma or those pairs of dharma that are opposing in nature. Okay. यद्यपि प्रत्येक वस्तु अनेक परस्पर विरोधी धर्म युगलों का पिंड है, तथापि वस्तु में संभव्यमान परस्पर विरोधी धर्म ही पाए जाते हैं, असंभव्य नहीं. जैसे नित्य नित्य संभव्य है, वस्तु में एक साथ रहते हैं, चेतन अचेतन नहीं. So which I already said, whatever are existing, they are covered in Anekant, which do not exist like Chetan Achetan. Anekant does not give space to them. It is not like you are correct from your point of view, everyone is correct, nobody is wrong. No, it's not like that. Okay? जीव सदा चेतन ही होता है, अचेतनत्व की जीव में कभी भी संभावना नहीं है. The soul is always conscious, is always sentient, is always having this consciousness, which is its life. Okay. There is never a point where the soul becomes jad or unconscious or without gyan. Even in Poma, even in Nigod, there is always this element of gyan darshan which is present in the soul all the time. And that is why this achetanatva dharma is never there in the soul. So we will not, Anekant does not accept these kind of comparisons in it. Okay? उसे अपने गुण धारण करने में पर की अपेक्षा. हाँ, चेतनत्व तो जीव का स्वभाव है. See now another term came स्वभाव, which I had mentioned. गुण, धर्म, स्वभाव and शक्ति. So this chetanatva is not dharma. It is a swabhav, and swabhav is always there. Even for a moment, if the swabhav goes away, the substance gets destroyed. Like gyan is also swabhav. If gyan goes away, atma is destroyed. Okay, so it always is there. There is never, a possibility of it being not there. Okay, and it is there because of its own thing. What it says is, वस्तु भी हमेशा पर से निरपेक्ष होती है, उसे अपने गुण धारण करने में पर की अपेक्षा रंच मात्र भी नहीं है. So all these गुण, dharma, etc., they exist in the soul because of what? because of its own inherent capability, because of its own inherent potential. It does not need any God or any external entity for its existence or for these infinite attributes to exist within itself. Okay. So now what happens when we realize this, that our existence is due to our own inherent potential, is due to our own capability. We don't feel the need to, depend on other substances, other people. The deenta ka bhav, the feeling that we are helpless and insecure and, we need others. We cannot do without other people. We cannot do without money, comforts, family, teachers, etc. That deenta, that helplessness goes away when we understand this anekant nature of the soul. Okay. जैन दर्शन में अनेकांत को स्वीकार किया गया है, अतः जैन दर्शन भी न सर्वथा एकांतवादी है न सर्वथा अनेकांतवादी है, क्योंकि सर्वथा अनेकांत मानना भी एक प्रकार का एकांत है, अतः वह तो कथनचित एकांत और कथनचित अनेकांत को ही स्वीकार करता है। इसी को अनेकांत में अनेकांत कहा जाता है। ओके, नाउ दिस इज स्लाइटली okay. So when we are saying that Jain Darshan is Anekant, okay, so if we say that it is solely Anekant, like solely it has multiple point of view, solely there are possibilities of two different opposing things, then that is also a one-sided view or Ekant, okay, because it is not solely Ekant. It is a combination of Samyak Ekants. Okay, so let me just explain with an example. So when I say that the soul is permanent from the point of view of the substance, Dravya ki apeksha nitya hai. Okay, so from this point of view, this is the only possibility. Okay, in nitya and anitya, from Dravya, it is always going to be nitya. Okay, so this fact is Samyak Ekant. Okay. And from the Paryay point of view, from the modification, it is solely temporary. It can never be permanent from this aspect. This is another Samyak Ekant. And these two Samyak Ekants together are forming Anekant. Now, if I say it is only Anekant, then what means? That soul is temporary from the substance point of view and permanent from the substance point of view, which is not true. You understand? So this is the meaning of Anekant mein Anekant. Okay. It is not Sarvatha Ekantvadi and not Sarvatha Anekantyadi. Sarvatha means solely, completely, partially Ekantvadi and partially Anekant. I'll explain with another example. So if I say that the soul exists, okay. So when I say soul exists, what does it mean? From Jainism, I said the soul exists in its own self. In its own Dravya Kshetra Kal Bhav, the soul always exists. This is Samyak Ekant. Now, this is a fact which cannot be changed. Okay. Not even for a moment within itself, the soul's existence is going to be wiped out. So this is Samyak Ekant. So in this, there is no other point of view which is going to come. Like partially exist in itself, nahin. It exists in itself. It is a strong statement which is always true from this point of view. Like the body exists in itself, the soul exists in itself, okay, and the other substances, Kal Dravya is existing in itself. It doesn't go into Akash. Akash doesn't mingle with Kal. Dharmastika and Adharmastika don't mix into each other. So when I'm saying this, it means that from that point of view, this is the only possibility. And that statement is Samyak Ekant. Okay. Now in that, if I say कि नहीं, उसमें भी partial डालो, उसमें भी from this point of view like this, from this point of view like this, it's not like that. If I'm saying from this point of view it exists, there is no other possibility, which is Samyak Ekant, and a combination of these Samyak Ekants gives me the accurate nature of the substance. Okay, which is Samyak Anekant. This means Anekant mein Anekant. Like, and for that they have given the example of a tree. Like the Samyak Ekants are like the branches. Okay. So the tree exists because of its branches. Now, if I just remove all the branches, is the existence of the tree there? The tree also does not exist, right? So these Samyak Ekants are the branches of the Samyak Anekant tree, and we have to accept that Anekant is also Anekant Swarup, which means that partially it is Ekant and partially it is Anekant. समझ में आया?
Vichalji, sorry,
Yes. Yeah.
maybe you could just repeat that last part, as in like Anekant within Anekant,
Okay.
please.
So, what is the meaning of Anekant? Anekant means multiple point of views, okay, multidimensional. So, what we are saying here is Anekant itself is multidimensional. Okay, if I say Anekant means always Anekant, then this is also a singular perspective. It is also an Ekant. In everything, if I say that it is Anekant Swarup only, there are multiple views only in all the things that I say, then that itself will be an Ekant. For example, if I say the statement that the soul is temporary, okay, and soul is temporary from the point of view of modification, and you say, okay, no, from this point of view, soul is also permanent from the point of view of modification. So this is a wrong statement. Okay, so when I say that from the point of view of modification, what is the nature of the soul? It is always temporary. From the point of view of the substance, of the dravya, what is the nature of the soul? It is always permanent. Okay, so when I'm saying always, I am emphasizing that from this point of view, no other possibilities existing. Okay, these statements are known as Ekant. Ekant means this is the one-sided perspective and this is always true. Okay, so when we learn Syadvad, this will get more clear. But this is what it means. कि एक side का जो perspective है, this is the statement that I am making. It is true in all the ways, and there is no other possibility for this statement to exist in any other way. So Anekant and Anekant means what? That partially there is Ekant and partially there is Anekant. So this Anekant is a combination of different such Ekants, and this is what makes it Anekant. You understand? These point of views, when they are okay, so let us understand from the example of the elephant. So 6 blind men are confronted with an elephant, and each of them touch one part of the elephant and try to describe it. So one person says, oh, the elephant is like a wall. Another says the elephant is like a pillar. Someone says the elephant is like a snake, and someone says the elephant is like a spear. Which of them is correct? All of them are wrong. Why they are wrong? Because they are touching one part and describing the entire substance. Okay, so that is why they are wrong. But if a person with eyes tells them, these are the legs of the elephant. So the person says, okay, from the legs of the elephant are like a pillar. The stomach of the elephant is like a wall. The tusk of the elephant is like a spear. The ears of the elephant are like a supri. I don't know what that's called in English. So if we describe in this way, the description of the elephant becomes correct. Now, imagine to make it Anekant, I say the legs of the elephant are like a rope as well as like a pillar. Is that statement correct? The legs of the elephant can be like a wall or can be like a snake or can be like a pillar. So that is wrong. Okay. So when we accept that from the legs, the elephant is only like a pillar, it is Samyak Ekant, because that is how the nature of the substance is. Okay. And the combination of all the views, from the legs, it is like a pillar, from the stomach, it is like a wall, from the tusk, it is like a spear, from the trunk, it is like a snake or something. So if we combine all these Samyak Ekants, the nature of the Swarup becomes Anekant. You understand? We cannot say that, okay, the stomach can be like a wall or can be like a pillar or can be like a spear or can be like a rope. That is not Anekant.
So these things don't give you a direction or or something of specific about the thing, the right thing. That's the reason we need all these things, right?
I don't get the question. So we need all these things to describe a substance accurately, because the substance is having these opposing pair of properties. So that is why we need different point of views to see the substance accurately. And when we understand it, so right now, you know what we are doing? I'm just explaining you the concept that how you will understand the substance. We are not even into it. Okay, how this Anekant and Syadvad works, we are first trying to understand that. And then you will use your own wisdom to now think, okay, this is, from the soul, it is like this, from Parya, it is like this. And that is your own exercise, which you will do in your Tattva Vichar. So I'm just trying to teach you the language of scriptures. And then by reading them, you will try to, do your own reflection and come at the conclusion. Okay. I think we will stop here today because I do see that it's not very easily understood and we will continue tomorrow, but we will take questions. And now whoever has not read the thing shared by me will find it imperative to read because that will make your job a little bit easier. Yeah. Anybody has any questions?
Vijay, you just wanted to ask. So in that Anekant mein Anekant, the other way I thought of it when we were discussing this concept was, going back to the example of the tree, like the branches. So for me, I thought like if the branch can be described in multiple ways, that like it's long, it's hard, it has multiple attributes, cumulatively, or like fruits,
No.
leaves, and
So
all.
don't take the
Within.
example in that way. You know why? Because when we are saying that it is a union of different Samyak Ekants, what I mean to say that when Samyak Ekant means from that perspective, what has been said about the substance is like a patthar ki lakir. It cannot be seen from any other way in that direction.
Yeah.
Like when I'm saying that the soul from the point of view of the substance is eternal, there is no other view about it. उसमें कोई शक की गुंजाइश नहीं है, right? There is no doubt because it is always eternal. 50 years ago it was eternal. Some other Tirthankar will say it is eternal. So it doesn't change at all. And that is known as Samyak Ekant. Like this thing is going to be like this and there is no other view about it.
So
Okay. So
Ekant mein Anekant is understood, but Anekant mein Anekant.
Anekant means multiple views. So Anekant means multiple views. So if I think that everything has multiple views, then that is also Ekant. No. I am saying that everything has multiple views and I'm solely sticking to it that everything has only multiple views. So that view itself is Ekant. Because everything has multiple views, partially singular views and partially multiple views, both are included together.
So we are basically having one viewpoint that everything is, like we are generalizing basically.
Generalize, sab kuch Anekant, which is the misconception of Anekant which normal people have. You are also right, I am also right. Nobody is wrong. Everything is correct. Atma Gyan bhi hai, Atma Achetan bhi hai. Atma kabhi Sharir bhi hai, kabhi Karma bhi hai. So this is not what Anekant is. Okay. So that is why we have to draw these boundaries of Samyak Ekant as well. That from this point of view, there is no other description possible. Otherwise, everybody will infiltrate the boundary. Ye bhi ho sakta hai, wo bhi ho sakta hai. It is possible that this will also happen. So that is not how it is. This is there is one line which comes ki ye sarvagya ka nirbadh sashan hai, which means that this is described by the Keval Gyani Bhagwan and this cannot be contradicted by any means. Like it is such a holistic perspective. It describes all the different aspects and you cannot contradict it in any way. Agar aisa hai, so you will not be able to contradict it because that is the actual nature of the substance. So Anekant and Anekant was simply to tell you that you cannot apply multi-dimension in everything. When we are saying from a particular aspect, the substance is in a particular way, then it is going to be in that way only. And that is Ekant. And a combination of different such Samyak Ekants, the right perspectives, is what gives you the multiple perspectives which are right, which is Samyak Anekant. Okay. Yeah. Let us all read this once again and revise what we have done today and we will continue. Tomorrow is fine. Everybody will come. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow we will.
Yes.
Same time. Okay. And I hope you all understand that it is very important to attend these classes. Otherwise, you're going to find it very difficult. Okay, so please tell the other batchmates as well that it will be wise to attend this time, right? All right. Good to see you, Aditi ji, for the first time. Yeah. निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है इसके लिए जनवाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है जा वाणी के ज्ञान से सूझे लो कालो सो वाणी मस्तक नमो सदा देत हो बोलो जिनवाणी मात की जय हो 9 times नमोकार मंत्र and we see you tomorrow. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.